I want to talk about this new book of yours, Kunyaza.
Yeah.
Now, the first thing I will have to say is that please explain how it is that you, as a Muslim male, are addressing female sexual gratification. How is that different from every other Muslim male who thinks that they know how to satisfy a woman and decides to write a book about it? What is different about your book?
Okay, hopefully what is going to be different about my book is that I'm not going to be dictating this is the only way to satisfy a woman. I'm presenting a tradition, because before I start, Kunyaza is a tradition which originated in Rwanda in East Africa, and it's a tradition which women themselves have who teach, called sengers, sexual educators, teach other women and then men about how a man should please his wife in the bedroom. This is a tradition which, again, like I said, it's been around for about maybe 150 years, but for whatever reason, a number of people, especially outside of Africa or East Africa, aren't aware of. And I want to show the contributions of Africans towards the issue of sexuality and sexology, because the same way with the book A Taste of Honey, I wanted to show the contributions of Muslims towards the issue of sexual studies and sexology. I also want to highlight and talk about the contributions of Africans. And the book is not a religious book. It's looking at issues, exploring sexuality or sexuality from particularly African woman's perspective, because the idea of like Kunyaza is derived from the word kunyara, which means ejaculate, female ejaculation. And what I found very interesting about this phenomenon is that, like I mentioned earlier, is that female ejaculation was seen to have just been discovered in the last maybe 40 to 50 years. Excuse me, in the West. Whereas in parts of Africa and parts of the Arab world and Muslim world, people knew about female ejaculation, and it was something that if a man wasn't able to make his woman ejaculate or squirt, however you want to call it, it was seen as something like a disgrace to the man. So even though it's about pleasuring the woman, the onus is on the man to be able to pleasure her. And also it's looking at the psychology of Kunyaza. It's not just a technique. It's not just if you do this, this will happen. It's about first and foremost be able to make sure a woman is psychologically prepared to obviously receive Kunyaza. Now, the reason why the man is important in this is because although it's about pleasuring the woman, the man is active participant in this encounter. It's not just about, it's about the woman in order for her to be able to obviously receive this this act, but it's about the man being able to physically prepare her. So you can say that, okay, if anything, the man is just as important in this act as the woman. Because if he's not able to relax her mind, if he's not able to make her feel comfortable, if he's not able to make her feel beautiful and sexy, because we know with a number of women, the reason which prevents them from even having an orgasm is because they're mental constraints. They put mental blocks up in terms of they don't think they're good, they're beautiful and sexy and all the rest of it. So that's why it's incumbent for the man in order to understand this and able to remove these mental blocks from her mind so she feels that she's desirable. Once she does this, because this is half the issue, is enable for a woman to feel that she's able to orgasm. Once she's able to do this, then in terms of the actual mechanics, it's relatively straightforward. So even though it's talking about, Kunyaza talks about the actual technique, it's more about the psychology of Kunyaza and how the appreciation that a number of Africans had, especially like East Africans, of understanding female sexuality long before the West came and said that we've discovered female ejaculation and even the G-spot. When we talk about the G-spot, which was named after Dr. Grafenberg, that was discovered in the 80s. So you're trying to say before the 1980s, no one knew what, it wasn't named the G-spot. We didn't know. No, it's true. So that's some of my frustration is that we've got I believe that a lot of black people and Muslims, we've got an inferiority complex when it comes to the West. Or like white people. So if they were to say something, oh wow, this is groundbreaking, when no, issues like female ejaculation, multiple orgasms, they were spoken about years ago. So that's why I'm
just finding that out. We've been talking about that.
Yeah, we've been speaking about it. So with Taste of Honey, speaking from a Muslim perspective, Kunyaza is looking at it from a traditional African perspective, because one thing I wanted to do, especially with A Taste of Honey, and I don't know if you've noticed, a lot of people that are speaking about the Muslim or Arab tradition of sexuality, a lot of Arabs are now taking pride in saying this is an Arab thing, this is an Arab thing. So I wanted to look at, no, there's also black people and Africans who have spoken about this issue, so to talk about the contribution, the intellectual contribution that black people have had Because one thing, unfortunately, which I think a number of Black people or people in Africa, which we don't do, is we don't document some of our work, our research, our findings. So that's why I've, hopefully when the book comes out, if not later this year, early next year, it's ultimately trying to highlight the contributions which Africans have made in terms of female sexuality by exploring the Kunyaza tradition, and again understanding the psychology about it, and to show that not everything came from the West and came from the white man or the white woman.